You're welcome on yet another interesting edition of Random with Afuda Samuel, where we discuss random things and of course we expect to get beautiful, wonderful stuff from random conversation. And I have a beautiful, wonderful guest with me in the studio today, Mr. Emmanuel. You're welcome, sir.
For a moment, I actually thought beautiful and very
no, actually beautiful guest. Not beautiful in that regard. You're welcome, sir.
Very well, thank you.
Good to have you. I love your full Yoruba boy outfit.
As per Yoruba boy that I am now.
Yoruba boy or Yoruba demon?
Yoruba boy for now.
Yoruba boy for now. Okay.
6 years carrying this.
Okay.
Yeah, so Yoruba boy.
Yoruba boy. So we cannot call you Yoruba demon?
No, I'm not.
Do you believe in Yoruba demon?
Absolutely.
Do you believe there are Yoruba demons?
Absolutely. Kuleman say demon anywhere.
But not necessarily Yoruba, just say demon. Or why is it the Yoruba demon very peculiar?
On a lighter note,
okay,
I'll say they are Yoruba demons. And on a lighter, Nollywood. So Nollywood will always portray demons. And if there is any, by my own, on that lighter note level, Yoruba film portray a lot of demons. So somehow, Yoruba film, yes, in Yoruba, there must be Yoruba demons. Please laugh, we find it
funny. Okay, now, talking about relationship. You've been married for how long?
6 years, 7 years, 15th of December, 2025.
7 years. Wow, yeah. That's good. What's your take about, do you think the next 5-10 years, marriage will still be what it is today?
No, it won't be.
Why?
I think marriage will be worse. I think so. Marriage is more transactional now. Kilokari. What do you get? Do you understand? Social media, number 2. There's this particular blog, I'm sure we know it. I don't like to read them for some strange reasons. At some point, Moribia Mule cope. But lately, I unsubscribed, I unfollow, because the narrative Toman portray and the stories they were pushing didn't quite align with my own values of marriage. And I just know that eventually, if we are not too sure or careful, a lot of younger people subscribe to this platform. That's what they read. That's what they see. And Baba, do you now know the funniest thing? If you go under the comments, I don't even enjoy a post as much as I enjoy the comments.
Yes.
So sometimes I'm on a comment for like an hour. Reading comment and reading views.
And seeing through people's mindset.
And if I now want to wait, you will see that more people seem to align with a particular narrative, especially about marriage. So, and celebrities are usually the ones in the picture.
Yeah.
And if you're a celebrity, just like the job we do, people think you are better than you are. So if they listen to you and think you are the bugwe, how much more if they see you and you are looking good? A celebrity recently just gave birth and gave a story of how the wife had a baby at 20-something months. And I actually thought the guy was good because Moman follow and I enjoyed the vibe. So if the celebrities are the ones in the picture, marriage and everybody rush and we all that 2 years down the line, the thing don't go. The truth is, like you said, in 10 years, marriage, no way.
Okay, now let's quickly do a little bit of comparing and contrasting.
Okay.
Which generation do you think is happier in marriage? Our whole generation or our parents?
To be very honest, I'll say our own.
Our generation?
Yes.
Please explain that.
And I'll tell you why.
Why?
The issues that we have now, we can see them, we can talk about them. In fact, we are sitting here and having a conversation because of technology.
Okay.
And I'm one of the people that always say domestic violence, verbal abuse, whatever violence, that you might not even be able to keep track of.
Emotional abuse.
Do you understand? They didn't just start now.
Yeah.
They have always been around. So lately, where I work, I recently started doing a Yoruba program on love and relationship.
I'm hearing that for the first time.
You should listen.
Wow.
So I've been keeping it low key,
okay,
so that anybody steals me. And so people send me stuff. And because it's real life, I want to talk about a real life story. And the first night that I did the show, and I opened up, so send your story to this WhatsApp number. Of course, I was expecting a certain class of people. WhatsApp, me versus SMS, because I don't want to deal with this ibile. But at least averagely people can connect with the kind of Yoruba that I speak.
You can't shock you.
Baba. Voice note, 30 minutes, 40-minute voice notes. Sometimes I'll give to intent to listen. And one of the things that I realize is that the people sending this, they are not young people. Let marry, sir, 30 years. 25 years. These are the people, 40 years.
Wow.
I want to carry secondary school. So ours is better because we are more expressive. So someone can go through an issue and easily talk. I am not enjoying it, but mama can't marry. It will shock me anytime I apply for divorce.
Yeah, I had some.
Do you understand? And it will, for me, it's a thing of shock because I'll think this is what happened to younger folks who we now see.
At least statistically, we were told that the most challenging period in marriage is the first 10 years or
do you understand? So
when people are in their 30th year
40,
and they are still having issues.
So I would say this generation.
Okay.
My own opinion, it might be different from other people's view, but because we are more expressive, only any problem really. Yes, there are problems, but there are problems we inherited. Ogundile.
Talking about expression now. One of the good things about this generation is we have a lot of free will, or let me say, platforms to express ourselves.
Absolutely.
Are you worried about the manner of expression of this generation? Let me quickly buttress that point.
Okay, buttress.
Raye.
Okay.
The popular core member, she had some good points.
Okay.
But some people have issues with how she expressed herself. There are also other pockets of, I don't want to call them celebrities, popular people on social media who might be fighting a seemingly just cause, but personally, if you're a millennial especially, you may find it difficult to come to terms with their manner and mode of expression.
Yeah. For me, yes, I agree. So let me talk about millennials and probably Gen Zs.
Okay.
So I work with a lot of core members, interns, and to be very honest, when it comes to creativity, these are like the best guys to work with. But when it comes to manners, professionalism, the ability to comport yourself at work is a zero. But your man or something. So one thing you must come to terms with is that every generation has a vibe. And I had this conversation with an elderly person whom I work with, and that you know, and we usually have issues. That's to be honest. We usually have issues. And it has become some form of a national anthem. And one day I just thought, let's sit down together and kind of not trash issues, but let's try to understand each other. And jokingly, so it was on a very mutual, soft environment. And I realized that, and we both, drew the conclusion that we are from different generations. And so there are certain things that I would think is the right way to go, and then he would think is not the right way. There are certain things he would think is the right way, and say, Koyeka sorrow now, and me, we talk. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And so millennials are even worse. Oh no, I said millennials, Gen Zs. They are worse. All the screw, no cap, all of these things, and it can be very disgusting. But if you understand that whether we like it or not, you just have to say it. E.g. Rugel, the core member lady, is quite unfortunate. But if you look at it critically, is she saying the right thing, or is she speaking for a lot of Nigerians? To be very honest, that might be the voice of a lot of Nigerians.
Yeah.
Do you understand? How did she put it across? The way those who want to hear it should hear it? No. Because life is about views. There are certain standards that you hold on to that I don't agree with.
Yes.
Do I have to hate you? No. Do you understand? But I must understand that that is your view, and we must find a meeting point. So with this generation, and those that are coming after the Gen Zs, they go show us pepe.
So are you now saying that we should try as much as possible to cope with disrespect? Let me put it that way.
I don't want to call it disrespect.
To them, they are saying their mind the way it is, unfiltered, uncensored. But to a millennial, older generations, this is disrespectful, rude and disrespectful. You don't talk to your leader and call him terrible. There are certain adjectives you don't use for someone older than you. I wouldn't know if this is an African thing, or let me say Yoruba thing. I'm a Yoruba boy, and we are very famous when it comes to our penchant for respect and stuff.
Value and respect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even when an elder has misbehaved. There's this Yoruba principle that says egun ishilewo kan na baba ko sona nbe ni. So what I'm saying is this, that even if an elderly person has goofed in one way or the other, and you want to correct him or her, you still do it with diplomacy. You do it respectfully. You do it courteously. That is what we were told, and that is what we grew up with. Now, this particular generation, their own vibe, like you rightly said, is quite different.
Right.
Are we now saying that the older generation should not make an attempt? I don't want to use the word tame, but let me say to correct or to guide them into the path which we believe is the right path.
Communication, again, like I always say, is when you speak and people understand. So you and I were speaking English at some point, we code switch to Yoruba, and that's because we both understand. So if I now begin to say, for instance, you don't speak French, and I start to speak French, there might be an issue here.
There will be.
And even when I'm praying for you, you probably may think I'm throwing some jabs or shading you. I think what the millennials or older generation should do is try to reason along. So I'm quite big on respect. That's the truth. I don't believe that if I'm talking to an older person, I should use some registers or words that are derogatory. And derogatory words are actually derogatory. One dictionary meaning, and derogatory, the end of it is what it is. So it's not when we are now dealing with semantics or pragmatics here. They are keywords, and this is what they mean. However, we still must find a balance. And how are we correcting them? So on a lighter note, yesterday I saw this video, the comedy skit was one court session. I think Genevieve or something suing her father to court, calling the judge bro. You know, it's comedy really, but T Gen Z shema ronuni. And so how do you commend or how do you correct a Gen Z who calls Baba 70 yo bro, and then you start to scream because it doesn't work for them? Do you understand? It's like giving a newborn amala. So, you know, health of the child. So, I'm just going to say we need to find a place on how to correct. Generation 1 year, you say, if you like, lock your child up 10 years. To bad level you behave, it's just like the atmosphere. Do you understand? But you must find a way on how to now correct the child. So I know this is who you are. You want to find yourself, you want to express yourself, but you don't use certain words on certain people. But your expression here, if you take it away from this generation, it's going to be doing us a lot of disservice. In fact, I still believe that one of the things we're enjoying now is because quite a number of them are more vocal. They are growing faster, finding themselves at key professional roles, and then our revelations can jade. Because how did we get here? Because we bottle up. That's why we're here. Do you understand? But they now, from our own assisting them to then choose their words appropriately. You know, you don't insult an elder, even though you can still pass your message. It's still going to be diplomacy anyways. But inside being diplomatic, the truth will still be revealed eventually. I've said too many. Even me, I don't understand what I'm saying again. But I hope I'm making sense.
Yes, you're actually making a lot of sense. You're actually making a lot of sense. Who are your 3 favorite Nigerian politicians?
Okay. This is a very tough one.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking off my head now, do I have a favorite? I have a lot of reservation with how we run our system and politics. And I've come to it because I do newspaper review. So I've come to a point where I see our politics as light camera action, just like we're in this studio. It's theater. Drums, make believe. But if I would say favorite politician, sometimes I like to read from Olusegun Obasanjo, to be honest. I don't quite agree with some of his views. However, I think he's a brilliant man at his age. Do you understand? I think he's a brilliant man at his age. So I like to read from Olusegun Obasanjo. If there is any other person that I like, that I may call favorite, will probably be Otunba Gbenga Daniel.
Are you from Ogun State?
No, I'm not. But my wife is from Ogun State. And I schooled in Ogun State. I schooled in Olabisi and Obanjo at maybe around the time when he was going to stop being the governor of the state. But I like Benga Daniel. I like the charisma. Benga Daniel doesn't say much, but his character, his keys, his body language is a textbook. You know, I know people who are closer to Benga Daniel and they will tell you he's a man of very little words. But you know what? Everything around him is saying something. And you must understand the language. I like that. I like life that complex. Like, do you understand? Yeah. I don't want to always want to talk. And I say this to people a lot. If not for this job, I probably wouldn't like talking. Do you understand? So I like the complexities of realizing that if I do my fingers,
I've realized that people who think before they talk, they don't really like to talk too much because they know it's exasperating. They have to burn a lot of energy because they have to think about what they have to say.
And then sometimes when you say something, a lot of people misconstrue you because you are in your own feeling. Yeah. So for that strange reason, oh yes, I remember the third person now, Abiola Ajimobi.
Of blessed memory.
Yes, of blessed memory. And I like Abiola Ajimobi again. You may not like him more.
No, funnily enough, I love the man. I love him for his oratory prowess. I love him for his I don't send personality.
And that is what, even though I am not that kind of person, but I think
I admire that.
I admire that quality. And I think during his government, because I followed closely, and I think that worked because our people need that kind of energy. I think that is the energy we need here. And I think anyone who really wants to set a change around here should be a pro-max of Abiola Ajimobi. I think three of them, yeah.
Interesting. So I want to give you 4 things now, and I want you to try to rank them in order of, how do I call it now? In order of how they're affecting Nigeria.
Okay.
Tribalism, religion, orientation, and corruption.
Tribalism, religion, orientation, and corruption. Yeah. So, whether we like it or not, tribalism, red tapeism, what again? Psychophancy. These are the things that characterize.
I try to remember.
You
get one where they call like this
nepotism. You know, these are the things that characterize our system. And whether we like it or not, Nigeria or Africa may still be more tribalistic than this in another century. Say 200, 300 years. And I would explain why I think so.
Does that mean there's no hope inside? Because I don't think we are going anywhere if tribalism is still in the picture.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of Africans want to move, but do Africa in itself want to move?
Who are they? Let's unbundle that. Africans want to move, but Africa itself.
Do Africa in itself want to move? So we are Africans, all right? I look at so many things in the European world. Development, yes, it's powered by Europeans. Technology, artificial intelligence. You know, I saw this video of Taliban yesterday, a particular video made with artificial intelligence.
I was shocked.
And it's beautiful, almost a direct resemblance, you know, and Africans are jumping on it. It's about time if we ourselves.
On a lighter note, I saw a video of Mami Gio.
Okay, oh really?
He said AI is a fallen angel. That is not any artificial intelligence. It's a fallen angel that is penetrating the world now.
It depends on how you use it, because even the church relies through. When you write with AI, Ayo, Mamo, because I write, and I think you cannot replace creativity with. So you get strings of words from all over the place, people's initiative. You put it together on one platform, and somehow you just kill the platform. I need to bring out something for you. If I read it, more, especially with social media captions, I just know. And then if I know you, and I know how you think, and I read from you,
this headline, this guy, Bruno Ficaria.
I'm just going to say AI too. So to say Africans, so we do a lot of things that even if you look at it now, it's not progressive. We really want to move, but our actions don't move. And one of it is that nepotism. So look at, say, the story of Rwanda, the story of South Africa, the apartheid story, let's come to Nigeria. There's Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba. Those three major ones, and then there are several minorities. This week already in Nigeria, I mean, I don't know when the video will be out, but the story of Humphrey Nwosu is in the news, and how the Southeast Caucus people stormed out in disagreement. And if you look at Humphrey Nwosu's situation, the one who was at NEC at the time, and then Babangida annulled the election and all of that, and Humphrey Nwosu didn't speak, had over, say, 30 years. Anyone would have said, Bia Emmanuel-Ojo, but democracy came back in 1999, and he could have said something. He didn't say something. He was alive when Muhammadu Buhari announced MKO Abiola. He still didn't say something. And so those who now think that this man should not get named after anything or immortalized in any way, if you ask me, it's a just cause. Yeah. But at the end of the day, why are the other side not seeing it from their angle? Because he's their brother. So you are my brother, I think you deserve it. Omo Illumini, in fact, someone had offered me a job, and the person tagged it because I'm from a particular place. And I said, I'm not going to get this. I'm not going to take it because I think Oma Lefumi not because I'm not competent to do the job. I'm trying to, that nepotic thing, you create some bad blood between me and the other people who are going to be doing the job. Because they just think all the favors that I get from you
is because
I'm from your place. So it's affecting Nigeria badly. Are we going to get a change in mind? No. I'm going to go to religion. And an election in Nigeria most recently, I don't want to mention anything, but if you can make it up, a particular politician won the election because the co-contestant is of a particular religion. And so maybe I don't like you, but the man behind the camera is your brother. And I don't like your faith, or we are not of the same faith, right? And the other, so I'm like, okay, because of that person, we vote you. That's another problem in Nigeria, religion. And if you look at, especially the Christian faith, for instance, and where it came from, and how we are doing the Christian faith, it's just very, very different.
Black and white.
It's just very, very different. And then because we now bring our culture into our religion, that's why we now call God the certain names. I remember Takwe Alabi being dragged at some point for that reason. But religion, we will never take that away from Nigeria, from Africa. Not just Nigeria.
Is it because of the state of our hopelessness? Because someone believes, some other people believe, and of course, they've made the case for it that when people are hopeless, they turn to religion because religion offers hope. And before you hold on to hope, that means your present state is really not what it should
Unfortunately, look at some of the things we pray for. I don't like to talk about this. I'm a strong believer of God. I believe strongly in God. There are certain things I've asked God to do for me that I would have thought because the government didn't do it. So yes, hopelessness. When the government fail you, even when you bash my cow, dear.
I finally know that person might have comprehensive insurance. So.
Do you understand? But it's just cultural. Like I said, we inherited some of the issues we are dealing with. And because we are not ready to go as Africans, we don't critically process things. That I should sue you to court. I should call the police at you. Or I should do this. But that religion, even the ones we call Lesin Abalaye, is still a religion. And it's still then connecting you back to the universal creator. So our hopeless level, your child wants to write JAMB because admission until omoto nepotism, religion, Uluwashanumi Gorioke, omo mujam the first time, Uluwashanumi Gorioke, eleketa, I will share testimony along to say. I'm not saying God didn't do it. But if it were to be a first come first serve situation, make good grades, no nepotism, no religious bias, would you be asking God for a child to get admission? The answer is no. The next one is corruption, I believe.
Yeah.
Corruption, that one, as long as poverty is still in our system, we may never be able to get rid of it. And it's amazing that the people who talk about corruption, who speak strongly about corruption, are equally corrupt people. If you are watching this video, ask yourself, are you corrupt?
Are you corrupt?
That's a big question. And somehow, corruption, so buy something. Maybe I give you some money. Let's do this contract. Alone, 2 million. You are likely to want to inflate the price. Do you know the excuses? Because of the economy, inflation in Nigeria, and you're already inflating 30%. Whether we like it or not, these are very little things. So, in one office, buy tissue paper, you inflate it by 500 naira. These are very little things. And to buy the Agbe standard. It's as little as that. The you may think is something very little. If they have the opportunity to steal a cattle, you would do that. So I think that corruption is another challenge with Africa, and it's interesting to know that it's not just particular with Africans alone. Anyways, even in the US, I read a paper recently, and the America for America to Donald Trump in pushing thing, and what's this Twitter guy, Elon Musk, and some of the revelation when I read about USAID, one of the biggest organization ensuring funding, that HIV and AIDS working here, and the allegation Barack Obama used it to sponsor Boko Haram in Africa, and all of that interesting stuff. So it's human nature, the ability to want more. It's tougher in Africa because we are poor. So even when you have, like, take for instance, you live in Ibadan and you earn, on the average, you're a big boy, you earn ₦1 million. Say you don't work here, you do a tech job and you earn $1 million every month. You want more because you are not sure. So you want to amass wealth. You want to keep a lot of things. If Obafemi Awolowo could talk about corruption at the time when you and I thought Nigeria was better, how much more now? So orientation, finally, that one is a big breakdown of law and order. The people that we think should give people orientation are the ones also flouting the law. And I wrote a piece recently about, because we live in Ibadan, and I do a program on radio inside Oyo State where I look at critical issues in Oyo State, invite people who talk about them, and then we prefer solution. And then the issue of about dumping refuse and waterways, flooding in Oyo State is like our second name. Kokoso Oyo flooding, like mentioning your last name. And then, do you understand?
And we are still battling.
And then we are still battling it till date. And what I found out is that if we are this much as a media, in the media structure, radio station in Ibadan alone, you can do your, counting. In Oyo States, low DD is a lot. And then we still have this problem. Then something is wrong with us. Those of us who say we speak to people, because what are we talking to them about? What conversation are we having? And that's the problem with orientation. It's Ishe Tiwani. It might not be our job solely because there's the orientation agency for the government to also do.
Let's not even go there.
Anyway. But always, we can't always wait for the government.
Yeah.
So the media practitioners, what do we do with our platform? What exactly are we saying? I know a few of my colleagues, responded, and I quite agree with them too, because they are right. However, Agbara Tawani, what are we doing with it? To letting people now know, don't dump refuse on the waterways. Because the same guy, to certainly radio and sing, when you are driving, you are voila. Okay, so I'm just going to say that with orientation, there's still a lot of work to do. If there are any issues that we have in our world today, especially in Nigeria and even in Africa, it's because people are not enlightened. And it's bad enough. If you look at the foreign world, when they want to do, how do I call it? Is it rescue mission in Africa, for instance? Okay. They are doing NGO, they are sponsoring one organization to let you know about child mortality rate, to let women know about this, to let this know about this, because we want to read as a challenge that, we don't have the right information. And anyone would say, Ayetu Lujara, why are we still like this? Yeah. We are not supposed to be here. We should be farther than this. Telephone, I don't elaborate, saying the GSM that year. And what year was GSM a thing? Where it came from. So we are not catching up yet. And that enlightenment and orientation is still a lot of work to do. And I hold the media responsible, and I said it. I strongly hold the media responsible. Unfortunately, you and I are both a product of our society. So when we now get on that platform, either on television or on radio, what exactly are we still saying? Because we are still a product of Ibita Timbo.
Definitely. And you cannot give what you don't have.
And you cannot give what you don't have. And so, but again, whether we like it or not, the media, radio especially, which is very close to the people. For some people, on Inside Oyo State, my program, for instance, someone said, somewhere in Ibadan, in 10 years, I will see Tono. And I was shocked.
In Ibadan?
In this Ibadan. 10 years. In fact, what local government, somewhere around the Egbeda.
People are still building there.
Shokpo no wambe, o wambe. Kinuko de Tono, odumewa. 10 good years. So it's amazing to see. Do you understand? It's a lot of work. And finally, may God save Nigeria.
Amen.
Because our government are not doing the right thing. So we look up to God.
Amen. We look up to God. Now you've mentioned media, and so we also have to talk one or two things about the media. As a media practitioner, if you have the benefit of insight now, if you can take back the hands of time, will you still want to do media?
So I'm going to share a quick story with that. A younger person who actually respects me so much in the industry got a bank job recently and left. And then he shared the good news with me, sent me the mail. And I said, bro, grab it. When I finished fresh out of uni, so I'd been engrossed in all of this media thing since my university days. And I did a project with a partner when I was in uni, sponsored by a bank in Nigeria. No advert, I won't mention your name. And then they sponsored the program when I was in uni in tune of millions.
Wow.
So it's like one of the biggest, a big deal for me when I was in uni to go to Lagos, make a defense for your money, and then they find you worthy, and then they give you the money. And that same brand offered me a job when I finished uni at the headquarters, and I turned it down for this thing.
For this thing we are doing. this present one.
For this life, advertising was the thing I was looking at the time.
Wow.
So I'd done a little of advertising, and then I got a job in that line in corporate comms in the department. I said, no, I enjoyed that. So in my second life, if there is any, I won't lie to you, I don't think so. Not because this, I've been hold salary on this job, now. In fact, I was sharing with somebody yesterday that I used to work with a brand on a big platform, global platform. And I was hold almost a year's salary. And I was appearing on television every day, speaking English. People would be watching it from SC, from Zambia. My friends were DMing, they would be sending me pictures. And I used to hold my baba because it's television. And I have a pattern. So I like my pattern always on flick. And I used to shave every 2 days.
Wow.
Just to look prim and proper. My baba called me one day and said, you are alpha, this thing. Do you understand? So, do I still want to do this in my next life? Maybe not full time. Can I say I'm even absolutely full time? Not really. Because I've then come to realize that you must own another life outside this. Nobody stays on the microphone forever. You get hold at some point and you don't have this energy. For instance, I got home last night at about past 12. This morning, I'm already at work at 5 o'clock. Do you understand? And I checked my alarm last night when I wanted to sleep and it was just 4 hours. So on 4 hours, the whole alarm is
you've been charged for 4 hours.
Do you understand? And somebody is just in their shop. They will, Majewa, Boiletebu, so I found me 6 hours. They show me how much I had my caption. It's a noble, beautiful profession.
Yeah.
However, it goes beyond your passion.
It is a noble profession, like you said.
Yeah.
Or, let me say, is it still as noble as it used to be?
Whether as noble as it used to be or not, noble is noble. It's still a noble profession.
I like that.
If you understand the business that drives the venture, you may not tell the same story. So I always say to younger people, for me, yes, popularity sometimes it helps you build the personality and then you can drive resources. But a lot of people are popular, they don't even know how to use it. So I use this platform to sell other things that I do And then you know what? If the industry then crashed down and there are no finance, I'm going to move. So when I worked at a station that held me for like a year, how did I survive? I was still surviving, To be honest, a lot of people didn't believe it. My colleagues were still borrowing money from me, even though I could not give you as much as, because I was living on something else.
The funny thing is that if you were holding your baba, and you were still borrowing some other people's money. So that means, what I'm trying to say is that there are other colleagues whose condition
Baba
is far worse.
One of them you know too well. If I mention his name, the guy was legit grounded, and eventually look at Alasoda will be in you. It was that bad. It was that so noble profession. But do I still want to do this in my next life? After saying all of this, maybe not full time, and that full time will be the part time to the barest minimum. Say a coffee program called 30 minutes.
You like to stop. You like to speak rather.
Oh yes, public speaking is one of my core. I enjoy it, and recently I now realize, all thanks to you guys, that I actually love to teach. But I didn't know. When I was a core member, I taught in a school.
Okay. I never had the opportunity. I dreamt of it literally.
Even though I did media. I
never got the opportunity.
Even though I did media as a core member, but somehow, because our job is always very flexible, and I'm a very restless person, so I don't like to be boxed in a place. Do 2-3 things, say do one program, cast the news, and that's all for the day. I'm poor. I already have that orientation from day one. So I taught as a core member, and I got the award of the best copper in that school. It was a big school. And I know that a lot of folks said, uncle, I like you to teach. Mufad Moko Agric. It was that bad because the school didn't now get any Agric teacher. And then because I like to read, so I read. Well, more pass WAEC to the glory of God. I taught physical and health education, even though at the time I was on the plus size myself, way bigger. How Condor is teaching physical and health education, all of that. And at that time, somehow I think I enjoy it because the public speaking thing is there. So yeah, I like to talk when I need to talk, but when I don't need to be honest, me and my children will tell you really well like that.
You've been in Ibadan for a while. You've been practicing as a broadcaster in the city of Ibadan. And in the last few years, we've had some of our senior colleagues come up with their own radio station. If you have a check of ₦1 billion today, will you consider investing in radio business in Ibadan?
Never. I think Ibadan is a very big place. Ibadan should be a state, and that's public knowledge. I don't know where that is going to, where it will head to.
I think Ibadan has like 11 local governments.
That's a lot.
A whole lot.
And that's 11 local governments.
That has fewer local governments.
In fact, I'll give you an instance. Ido, for instance. Ido should be like 3 local governments in one. So anywhere from Oluyole Extension through the Lelebu and some section of Akala Expressway, back to Akpata and back to somewhere around that Akpete, it's still Ido local government. There's still a place called Ido inside Ido. That's one. Oluyole local government, for instance.
Another massive one.
Until you get to Mamu, like you're going to Djibouti, you are still going to be in Ibadan. The local government secretariat is even at Idianyure, almost 3 kilometers away from here. And then the local government starts from that Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Bugbo Academy, Olundi Nkonkon. That is Oluyole local government. Do you understand? So it's a big place. And I think the population is also growing because of the development already coming into Ibadan and how expensive Lagos State is gradually becoming. And a lot of digital jobs now. So you rather want to be where it seems to be cheaper, even though I don't think Ibadan is cheap anymore.
Not again.
However, the people here then love radio. So I don't think the radio stations are too much, in my opinion, even though the impact on the city is very minimal. But do we need more people to join a venture that every investor is looking for profit?
Yes.
And so do you want to join a venture where you are not sure that in another 5-6 years you are going to recoup your loans, your money, your investments? And that is what the media landscape in Ibadan, and I'm using the word Ibadan carefully because I'm looking at Ibadan in itself, and that's where the business is. That's where the number is. Do you understand? So everybody's looking for, say, top 5 or top 10. I mean, if you want to advertise, you want to go where you think people don't listen to. Again,
and that top 5 is even a generous extension.
It's even a generous extension.
Top 3 most times.
Top 3. Do you understand? And I say that any to fair taja, ibi toja it matter.
Most definitely, no sentiment.
Even though looking at all the stations in Ibadan critically, there is hardly one that you listen to and people are not listening to.
Definitely.
And that just explains the population here. Unfortunately, we don't have the data of our last census, but I'm sure that we must have done, by my own assessment, say times 2 of what the last one, gave to us. So, setting up another station here, no. Anywhere else, no, except if God says so.
I feel that.
So if you are very sure that God is whispering into your ears, and you are sure that is not the voice of your grandfather that said, I want to hear any radio.
There's this analogy I like to give our students at the academy. I keep telling them, see, is there another reason why you want to do radio? If there is no other reason apart from money, I say you'll be frustrated along the way.
But what other reason can it be? If there is any other reason why I think any...
for example, for a lawyer now, back then in school, they would tell us that, why are you here to study law? Is it because someone has taken your family land?
Do we even still need more lawyers in Nigeria?
Those kind of a thing. So now, maybe if you want to do radio because... what else could be?
Because sports radio lawyer, Nibado. Maybe. Maybe like the Brillas.
Yeah.
There is none at the moment. Maybe online, but I mean, that's not getting a common reach. So you want to set up, say, a radio to tackle sports, basically, which is a need. And I think a lot of people like sport around here, especially the indigenous sport. Yeah. The day you see somebody to try it, you want to make big bear Lola.
You are going to try with that message. You have to push that message.
You want to make big bear
Lola. Because one thing I can assure you is that if we have an indigenous sports radio in Ibadan today, we are in 2025. Right. Before the end of 2026, we have 4 or 5.
2026 is too far. It's too far because there are licenses lying on the table and then people don't know what to do with them. In fact, they want to sell them off. So you'll be sure, bam.
Now this one,
building to Duro now. Any Baba ain't any building can be con. It's just to hire 1 or 2 boys, blah blah blah, and the thing don't blow. So that's the thing.
What is that one thing you feel personally you can contribute to make Nigeria great? I was tempted to say to make Nigeria great again, so I have to remove that again to make Nigeria great, because I'm not sure if Nigeria has ever been great.
So I think Nigeria as a nation has been great before.
Okay.
Or to agree to at some point. I mean, looking into history, Nigeria got television before France.
Come again.
Nigeria got television
before France.
Check. WNTV, WNBS. I'm not sure if that's the name, but the NTA Ibadan now, first in Africa, before France. Like France. Do you understand? Yeah. If not for anything, the king of Dubai, Oba Saudi, like they always say, would come to the University College Hospital. That simply still enough for months.
One of the scariest places to be in Ibadan.
Do you understand? University of Ibadan, Cocoa House. I know this now sounds like a broken record because everybody now know. But the truth is, these are signals, and I'm talking about Ibadan, Ikon. What about other places in Nigeria? Because I want to on street Benye. Do you understand? I want to the other day I was at Olumorok and I saw the crowd, and it took cost to buy tickets to go in. And looking at some of the infrastructure in that place, and you wonder, because Boborito and men alone say 2,000, do you understand? So it's what's the question again? I missed it. I've said too many things.
We're talking about Nigeria
being great.
That what is that thing that
I can contribute? So for me to be in education, so my wife and I co-run a 6th grade school.
Okay.
Where we, provide solution for immigration purposes. Okay. I'm answering Bugonlewa. I don't know.
I know that.
We speak a lot of English, and we try. and we have a training in that line, to prefer solution in that regard. And I don't have my training in education, graduate level. So the training is in education, and we currently now see a wide gap, in education. And trust me, I'm very interested in it. Very, very interested. In fact, if I drop the microphone tomorrow, you probably will find me. Maybe not in the typical Nigerian classroom, but you will find me in the classroom. And I like books. My friends used to call me bookworm. We like Latin Makawi. Yeah,
that's why you can speak good big English.
I like exams.
You like exams.
Baba.
You like exams.
Don't let me enter that exam. Exam, they give me joy.
Exam. Interesting.
Exams, it gives me.
You are one in a billion.
Goodness. Exams, it gives me joy.
Interesting.
I legit like to write exams. I just like it. So when I see people, you don't want to progress academically, you don't share. Not because you want to go to another school, but at least for career growth. So yeah, if there's any venture, any area where I think that's the thing, it would definitely be in education.
In education.
Yeah.
Okay, finally on a final note.
I hope so.
Are you team? Yes, I hope so too. Are you team Nigeria or team JP?
It was in JP.
Japa.
Okay.
You that you speak this plenty English, you must be on your way out. But let me not you. Are you team Nigeria or team Japa?
So I have to think.
Okay.
Me, Sharon Ojukan. So the Japa, and I know that I might not be for one location. Whether team Nigeria or Japa, at some point we're with Japa, whether we like it or not. It depends on Shiama Jakpada, Abia and Jakpada. To be honest, I still believe that Nigeria will be good. When it will be, I don't know. And if we all leave, all of us cannot even leave.
That's not possible.
Do you understand? All of us cannot leave. I know, I don't know the disposition of my parents if they would want to live here finally. But the truth is, even if you carry your papa, carry your mama, carry everybody, you can't carry all your family members. Okay. So God forbid it.
And most of our parents even want to come back when
they want to come home. Do you understand? You don't want a situation where in Nigeria and you are scared. Because even in your Japa, you'll be scared. Imagine your dad and mom being in Nigeria. And you now hear that bomb can drop on big on, God forbid. Your blood will boil. Because you think your dad or mom or aunt or somebody is caught up in that. So, Team Nigeria or Japa, I stand in the middle. I stand in the middle. Let me just play safe. I stand in the middle, but don't be surprised though if you now see me that I say Nigeria, no, will come back again. But for now, today,
as of now,
I stand because again, I always say to people, if I want to Japa, I would have done that a long time ago. But it's in your mean $2 don't quote me. That's where I stand really. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on Random. We've had so many random conversations about different things, and I want to sincerely believe you've learned a thing or two. I've learned a lot. I've known him, but then I've known him better. And of course, apart from him, I've learned one or two things from him too, and that is the essence of the whole conversation. So please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, set up and put on your notification, and look out for the next content, the next episode of Random or any other content dropping on our channel. Thank you. God bless you.